first glance, it might look like purple fabric, liner for a carpet, or maybe the background for a sweet velvet Elvis. But this is track, as in the kind athletes run on, and it's being manufactured, tested, stretched, and measured in the Italian town of Alba. From there, it'll be sent to France, where it will be raced on in the 2024 Olympic Summer Games. If you're assuming it'll be dyed a dark gray before then, you're wrong. This track will feature 2 different shades of purple, and an executive with the company making it says it'll be the first of its kind in the world. Now, if you're wondering why purple, as even the French flag is blue, white, and red, the manufacturer says this shade recalls the landscape of France. And if you've seen the works of French artist Claude Monet, you can see why this color selection is right on track. Welcome to the world from A to Z with Carl Azuz. That's this guy, and I'm happy to be starting a new week with you. Before we continue our tour of international events, we want to make a stop in the Midwestern United States, where people are taking account of the damage after several tornadoes struck late last week.
That is a huge tornado. Wow!
Ohio's governor declared a state of emergency in 11 counties, which speeds up state government aid to areas that need it. A twister in Logan County, Ohio, was blamed for at least 3 deaths, while damage to homes and businesses was reported in several other states, including Arkansas, Indiana, and Kentucky. At a donation center set up at Ohio's Indian Lake High School, people have been dropping off everything from clothing and food to diapers, according to the Associated Press. And while one woman there says some areas look like a scene out of the movie Twister, neighbors are helping neighbors.
Not the view some tourists had hoped for, a thick layer of smog covering the city of Chiang Mai in Thailand. On a clear day, this overlook is usually a popular photo stop, but haze is once again obscuring the view. Perhaps not surprising, since Chiang Mai ranks as one of the world's most polluted cities, according to IQ Air, a website that monitors air quality. But the smog isn't just unsightly, it's unhealthy. IQ Air says the level of cancer-causing pollutants in Chiang Mai's air is more than 20 times higher than World Health Organization guidelines, and people are getting sick from it. A Thai government report says more than 10 million people required treatment for pollution-related illnesses last year, with many people wearing masks to protect themselves. In northern Thailand, high pollution levels are common during the early months of the year, when farmers burn crops to clear the fields. But this year, the government says it's taking steps to curb the problem. Legislation for a Clean Air Act is underway, and Thailand's Prime Minister says he'll impose regulations on crop burning, but didn't give further details.
We are going to do whatever we can to make sure that the air condition is improved.
The smog also affecting Thailand's capital, Bangkok, and one of the country's most vulnerable groups, children. Many public schools in Bangkok don't have air purifiers or filtration systems, so students, even inside the classroom, can be exposed to toxic air.
The humidity in the classroom is high if we close the windows, so that's why we need to leave the windows open. But then pollution dust comes into the room, which causes the children to get sick. Most children have allergies. Many of them have long-term allergies. Some don't really recover from it.
There are pilot programs to install purifying air conditioning units in some public schools, equipment that could create healthier classrooms, and changes some parents say can't come soon enough.
From Thailand, we're headed to Iceland next, where a volcano that's been erupting since December continues to belch smoke into the air and spill lava in the country's Reykjanes Peninsula. This is the fire part of the reason why Iceland's called the land of fire and ice. The eruption's happening in the southwest part of the island nation, a little more than 20 miles from the capital of Reykjavik, and according to the nation's meteorological office, it's the volcano's 4th eruption in 3 months. On this date in world history, East Germany held free elections for the first time on this date in 1990, 4 months after the fall of the Berlin Wall that divided East from West. Voters overwhelmingly supported a quick reunification with West Germany, and that took place in October of 1990. On March 18, 1965, a Russian cosmonaut became the first person ever to walk in space. Alexei Leonov's walk lasted around 10 minutes while he was tied to his Voskhod 2 spacecraft. 10 years later, he was the commander of the first joint space mission between the Soviet Union and the United States. And on this date in 1892, Lord Stanley of Preston pledged to donate a Silver Challenge Cup to Canada's best ice hockey team. The Montreal Amateur Athletic Association won the first Stanley Cup a year later. The National Hockey League began using the cup as its championship trophy in 1926, and it remains the oldest trophy in North American pro sports.
World of knowledge. Which of these events took place in 2017? Marriage of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, total solar eclipse over America, Summer Olympics in Brazil, Douyin app launch in China. 2017 was the first time since 1979 that a total solar eclipse occurred over the contiguous U.S.
It's not exactly a rare event. A total solar eclipse happens somewhere in the world every year and a half or so, but they're a lot fewer and farther between over specific places, even one as big as the contiguous United States. After next month, the next time one will occur over the country will be in 2044.
On April 8th, a total solar eclipse will be visible to millions of people in North America, 32 million in the U.S. alone.
I saw the last solar eclipse, and there is really something magical.
Expedia travel expert Melanie Fish says this eclipse will be visible in more areas than the Great American Eclipse in 2017.
This time, the solar eclipse covers a much more populated path of totality. So that means a lot more people are going to have a chance to see it.
A solar eclipse is when the moon passes between the sun and the earth, casting a shadow on the earth that fully or partially blocks the sun's light, creating darkness like this during the day. Mexico's Pacific coast will experience the total eclipse first. Then the path enters the U.S. and goes up to Newfoundland, Canada. People in 15 states will be able to view the phenomenon, and lodging is already in high demand.
Availability is getting tight for hotels to stay in and vacation rentals in the path of totality.
This year's rare sight falls around spring break, which is already a popular time to travel. So book accommodations, flights, and car rentals now. For those who have the week off, Fish suggests planning an entire trip around the solar eclipse. So pick a place where there are other things to see and do. Most importantly, plan ahead.
Don't just wing it and hit the road and say, I'm going to drive to wherever the eclipse is.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Kimberly is a city in southern Idaho, not far from the state's borders with Utah and Nevada. And Kimberly is where Mr. Warwick's class is watching from Kimberly Middle School. Great to see y'all. And in Ashland City, Tennessee, the volunteer state, we heard from Mr. Cook's class at Cheatham County Central High School. Let's go Cubs!
Fox News, or I should probably say, news about a fox. A wildlife center owner in Virginia recently donned a furry mask while feeding an orphaned newborn red fox known as a kit. But there is a method to the masked madness. Melissa Stanley of the Richmond Wildlife Center says the familiar face approach helps to prevent imprinting, where a newborn forms a strong bond with its first contact, in this case, humans. The center is hoping to eventually attempt to reunite the kit with its mother,
whose face will undoubtedly be much smaller. Donning a disguise might seem kind of sly. The baby might mask a lot of questions like, how can I trust this guys? Are they two-faced? Is this a cover-up? What are they hiding? Are they too chicken to show their faces? Why are they trying to Halloween me? And when it's old enough to see it was just a costume all along, what does the fox say? I'm Carl Azuz, thinking outside the box on the world from A to Z. Means the world to us to have you watching. We hope you'll hunt us down again tomorrow.